The federal government, not the state, the federal.
You know, we may have a cash crop here in this country. The estimates are between 25 and 50.
Well, don't you think that
Let me just get it in. $1 billion a year. It's second only to corn.
Yeah, I just
in money terms. You were sleeping and there's a knock on the door. What happened, Debbie?
There were about 20 agents surrounding us with guns and all their little beanies and telling us that we are doing something very wrong.
20 guys came?
20, 30. There were an awful lot of guys sitting there.
Did they handcuff you?
They handcuffed Joel, and they dragged him out. Well, of course, you're not allowed to be together. This might be a conspiracy also, you know.
Yeah, we're afraid, though, if your husband's allowed to grow it, then everybody's going to grow it, and pretty soon we'll have 9-year-old agriculture specialists,
yeah, well,
you know, taking the top off these things and hybriding the seeds and all that.
My 9-year-old might be drinking alcohol if I didn't teach my 9-year-old. That's a parental thing.
So it's just something you should take responsibility for yourself and not go. Show them the tape, Brian. Here they are, chopping down your husbands. I don't want to sound like I've been living in a cave or at a church camp all my life, but I didn't realize marijuana plants were this large. Look at this. Here are the federal agents. The date on here says 1991.
Yeah.
This is the Catskills area of New York State, is that right?
Yeah, marijuana does not grow in the Catskills as it would in Florida either. What's the point? How could any agent, how could anybody tell you what your crop is going to yield? When you don't know, it's just like planting a tomato plant. How many tomatoes are you going to get? But under the federal law, you're convicted for how many plants you have and not how much it will yield. 100 plants means 5 years mandatory minimum, no questions asked. Not whether it is going into the streets for distribution, nothing.
And that's whether it's a little seedling or a really
whether
big
it's a
plant,
seedling
right?
or, I mean, a leaf, the first seed in the ground, they are allowed to assume anything, anything.
Are you there, caller?
Yes, I'd just like to say that I think it's a joke that the federal government and our state governments are spending so much money on putting people in prison for stupid, like, small charges on marijuana, when marijuana is actually such a resourceful thing. I mean, there's many other things that marijuana can be used for.
Like, that's true.
It's also, the pulp derived from the cannabis plant can also be made for paper pulp, and so we're not having to cut down so many trees.
Yeah.
And also, it is an alternate resource method.
Well, you sound pretty well plugged in yourself here. Are you a smoker?
No, actually, I'm not. I've never smoked marijuana in my life, but I've taken to this because I am an environmentalist, and I see that so many of our natural resources are being depleted when we have a very resourceful one right here that is illegal. And the federal government wastes so much money, especially on this woman, putting this woman's husband in prison when it's such a small, you know, like, I don't understand why. It just frustrates me because marijuana, the cannabis plant, is very resourceful, but the federal government is so absurd in making it illegal.
I thank you. I'll tell you, Debbie thanks you. We're not. Gratitude, however, comes too late for her husband. 5 years now at Danbury in Connecticut. You wanted to say, Debbie.
They haven't figured out how to tax us on this yet. If they figure out how to regulate it like alcohol or tobacco, maybe there won't be people sitting in prisons for 5 years. Federal prisons
don't miss the point.
In the state, this is a misdemeanor. But if you have 100 plants and you have property to forfeit to the government, 30 acres too, of course it's going to...
They took your house, didn't they?
They're taking our house also.
Yeah.
Yeah, this I found out a week after Joel was put into Danbury. We were negotiating a price with the government. How do you find the money at that
I've got a lot to get in. You're not finished yet. Stay with us. I'm sure we'll have some folks who want to chat with you. This is about crimes on the books that you're paying the local constabulary to enforce. Chase down, enforce. And the question is this money well spent? Meet. Jeff Wasson meets a guy, and you agree to go home. Tell him.
Basically, I met a guy in downtown Lexington, and after a 20 or 25-minute conversation, I then invited him to my house. On the way to my house, I was pulled over by 2 undercover agents for weaving, so they said. They snapped my picture at that point, and about 6 to 8 months later, they came knocking at my door with a summons to appear in court for solicitation to commit 4th-degree sodomy, which is illegal in the state of Kentucky.
Yeah. How long after you were stopped, and incidentally, you got out of the car and a guy took your picture? That's so. And how long after that were you arrested? What was
about 8 months later.
So they've got your picture on file, and they wait 8 months to arrest you.
They waited 8 months to summons me for court.
Right. But when the cops started to chase you, the man that
took off
split in his other car. So he was obviously a sting guy, huh?
It was a sting operation. It was myself and 28 other people involved in this sting operation.
Right. What's the charge, Jeff?
Solicitation to commit fourth-degree sodomy.
Yeah, fourth-degree sodomy. Well,
I have no
you don't
idea.
want to get anywhere near that first and second and third-degree sodomy. So, Jeff, incidentally, at the time, you're not out to your parents, are you?
No, I'm not out to my parents at this point.
You've got some stripes in the struggle. You were beat up, what, routinely in high school?
I was harassed. I've been harassed all of my life. During the court proceedings in which I was very smeared through the media, through the public newspapers and TV, reported the case with no sympathy toward me. I was fired from approximately 10 jobs. When there was no excuse that they could fire me for, then one company even told me that they were firing me for making a pass at a female patient.
What did the female patient say? Did she, no.
The female patient, I was never able to confront that person.
And you don't want to really pop off for gay rights in this environment in any event.
Exactly.
You're punished pretty good. Okay, we'll get to that here in just a moment. What's he do now? He's in the closet. He's going to jail, or he's certainly got to go. What would you have to do? Go to trial and fourth-degree sodomy, whatever the hell that means. Fourth-degree sodomy. Frankfort, Kentucky, right? State capital. Lexington. So what do, Jeff?
What my options were to plead guilty and pay a $50 fine and go free.
Yeah.
Or decide to fight the law. And I really do feel that, even though I'm a homosexual, I pay taxes, I contribute to society, I have moral beliefs, and I deserve equal protection under the law just the same as heterosexual couples.
Damn right, Jack Chambers. Conservative syndicated columnist from Texas. Praise the Lord. You don't agree with him, do you?
Well, I agree with the last statement, but I don't agree with the way he's interpreting it. When he said that homosexuals and everyone else should be treated equally under the law, he is treated equally under the law. When he breaks a law, or when he tries to solicit someone into breaking the law...
to tell you what you can do in your bedroom behind closed doors, Jack?
Well,
come on. This what? Go ahead. Give him
no one went and spied in his bedroom. There apparently was a place where he admitted he's 25 minutes after he met a man, he's taking him home to engage. And I don't think they're going to play Monopoly. We have laws.
Now you want to encode courtship behavior.
Phil, the purpose of law is when a society says there are certain moral values that we have that when you violate those, they are so destructive to our society, we're going to punish that behavior.
The government has no right to tell me what I can do in the privacy of my own home.
Except in the state of Georgia, where the United States Supreme Court, by a vote of 5-4, upheld an anti-sodomy law in Georgia, Bowers versus Hardwick, in which 2 men were broken in upon by a cop who arrested them for same thing, sodomy. But we haven't finished your story. You take it to the Kentucky Supreme Court.
Yes, I did. After a
You're saying this is not fair, this is unconstitutional. You cannot tell a person who they can see or can't see. I didn't hurt anybody, and the Kentucky Supreme Court says what?
After a 7-year battle through the court systems, the Kentucky Supreme Court says, yes, Jeff, you are right. The sodomy law is no longer on the books in the state of Kentucky.
There you go, Jeff.
I would like to point out that I think it's totally absurd that the state of Kentucky elected to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars to prosecute me.
Hundreds of thousands.
Phil, down in Texas, this law is also, we have a 114-year-old law against homosexual intercourse. Our state Supreme Court currently is reviewing it. They'll release a decision supposedly this coming January. Right. The purpose for these laws, we can take a case like this and win the audience support and get a lot of people's sympathy saying this poor, nice guy that pays taxes. We're talking about a value on this particular law. We're talking about a law that has been a shared cultural value of almost every society in the culture of mankind, because we know that homosexual activity is something that those people need help. We do not need to encourage them by taking all the laws away.
Well, we don't know that, Jeff. Not everybody knows that.
Sexuality has been here since the beginning of time, and it will never go away, no matter what you say.
We must clear this up, though, Jeff. The United States Supreme Court approved 5-4 with one of the justices after retiring say, I wish I had it back, I would have voted. He got wisdom too late. But in any event, I assume the reason the Kentucky Supreme Court overruled your arrest and any attempt to harass you was because the Kentucky law obtained only to gay people. Isn't that so? So that the court overturned the charge against you, or the action against you, because it was discriminatory in that it didn't obtain also to heterosexuals. Not so Georgia. You can be a married couple, and if you go to Georgia and engage in oral sex with your husband, you're going to the slammer. I know that for a fact.
As far as the
I'm telling you, they pass out flashlights in Georgia just to...
Since the topic today is not just about homosexuality, it's about how
Yes,
these crimes... It's about it's why some of us believe these do hurt all of society. The lady on the end, Debbie, her husband, it wasn't pointed out, I understand, was an attorney that defended people accused of drug crimes.
Yes, he did.
They say ignorance of the law is no excuse. He wasn't even ignorant. He knew what the laws are. He has no excuse to be growing 100 marijuana plants knowing what the penalties will be. We should have no sympathy for him when he suffers the consequences.
My husband was a man before he was an attorney.
He was a what?
He's a man before he's an attorney.
So if they commit a crime,
he's not in...
I got a break. Dolores French, here she is. An Atlanta housewife, is that all we want to say? Or a professional person? What were you?
A professional
She sees
homeowner.
all these cops chasing all these hookers. Boy, knocking doors down. In my next life, I'm going to be a vice cop. Man, that must be some kind of job. And she says, why? She gets into it. Guess what she's doing now? She's a prostitute. And she wants to know why the hell you care. She's not hurting you. And stop this. You're spending millions and billions of your tax money to chase prostitute. Oldest profession in the world. Going to do nothing. You just move them around. It's like musical chairs. And we'll be back in just a moment.
2 coffees and a sweet.
And now what? They want a coffee and a sweet and low. They're never gonna leave. I think they...
We asked for sweet and low.
I'm so sorry. This is all that we got.
Well, then we'll leave.
So soon.
Sweet and low. For millions of people, there's just no equal.
They say, oh, Katerina's using her looks. I'm guilty. To be the best, I use everything. The costume, the choreography, the music, and not so crazy, this.
Fabergé and Katerina proudly introduce Lady Power Clear Roll-On Anti-Perspirant.
Nothing rolls on this clean and clear. This works for me. It's the part of my look you don't see.
New Lady Power Clear. Power that won't let you down.
I looked in the mirror and I just went, oh my gosh, I look like a different person. I was huge. I went to Jenny Craig because I needed someone to help me the whole way through. I had a lot of bad habits. Deborah helped me change them one at a time, and I could call her anytime I needed her. I got the help, and I want to just, tell people, you don't be afraid to reach out and get that help.
Instead of just another diet, get personal weight management at Jenny Craig, all for just $1 a pound. Call 1-800-92-JENNY.
A 3-ton paper baler had struck me in her back. From then on, it was just more or less a downhill battle of pain. When you have these injuries is the time that you need somebody of that sort. A law firm, Greenberg Betterman, they were family. They were a part of my family because of the way that they looked out for my best interests. And they'll take care of the rest.
To be part of the audience, please send a postcard to Donahue Tickets, care of NBC, 30 Rockefeller Plaza, New York, 10112. Remember, postcards only, please.
Hi, I'm glad you waited. You wanted to...
Yeah, I was in the same situation. I agree with that woman. My husband is now going to jail because of marijuana.
What do you mean because of? What, is he growing it?
I had one plant he got caught for manufacturing, but he was stealing out of my house. And we had $2,500 and almost a quarter pound of pot in my house.
Yeah. How much time? Which state did this happen in?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Are you losing your home?
Did it go federal or state?
No, the Milford police got involved with it. I had an apartment. I lost my apartment. I had to move. I was pregnant at the time. I had my son early because of it. They want him to go through a shock, but he doesn't know if he should go through the shock program because it's basically like boot camp. They knock you down and
right. So you don't know how much time he's going to have to do?
If he doesn't go for the 4 months through the shock program, then he has 3 to 5 hanging over his head.
Okay. Hang on a minute. Tell us, Dolores French, a married woman, your husband's a lawyer, and you
They get punished a lot, lawyers.
Hang on. Hookers in Atlanta? They better not. We got the Olympics coming down there. We have to get hookers.
I was a homeowner, and I happened to be working in radio at the time. I went to a community meeting where they had police officers there talking about sting operations in our neighborhood. And I'm sitting back there with my other media pals, and we're listening to this police officer say that it's costing $3,000 per arrest. And I'm, $3,000 per arrest? I wouldn't have to pay property taxes for 3 years if they would just not make one arrest. And I stood up and said, I think this money could be being spent in a better way. And I was also a good bit put off by the titillation in the eyes and in the expression of the police officers talking about these arrests. And I just thought, I think that my tax dollars are going to pay for a $3,000 date for these guys. So I started looking into it, and as I looked into it, I found that prostitutes were not what the stereotypical people's idea of prostitutes were. I got to know them a little bit, started doing more research, found there was very little research done, and within a few months, a woman offered to let me go do one of her jobs, to see what it was like. You know, and see, maybe it is a horrible, degrading experience. And Phil, it was really that first job was one of the most rewarding professions. A program producer at the time, I had become quite disillusioned with media because I used to have the idea that media's job was to inform, and unlike your show, a lot of shows are not so informative.
And come back. Go ahead,
and I was disillusioned with that. And I found that in this case, I was providing a service for someone who desperately needed it and was truly grateful. A nice person. I thought maybe this is a unique experience. And so I decided to try it a few more times.
Right. So now, Dolores, you will tell the truth. You're married to a lawyer. So
yes,
we know you're certainly well trained to tell the truth. You still hook, do you?
And I have too.
Telephone service.
I specialize in fetishes.
You do?
Yes.
I see. Well, we'll talk about those with this audience during the commercial. Hang on just one second.
It's tedious state to state.
The point is, this is another law which is costing us a lot of money to chase down because of old moralistic, religiously engendered values that have no business on the books.
And not only that, when I was on the mayor's task force on prostitution when I was arrested. Before I was on the mayor's task force, Andy Young appointed me to it. Before that, I thought that all these surveys saying that most people were in favor of either legalization or decriminalization were kind of, when we did that committee, citizens from Atlanta came in talking about what they wanted us to do about prostitution. Right. And only one person out of dozens and hundreds of people that came in was opposed to it, and it was a minister, but the rest of them want regulation.
I'll get you in, Jack, I promise. You really do get to speak here. I think the people are coming around to the awareness of the amount of money we're throwing away here.
Legalization of prostitution is coming.
Yeah. You want prostitutes to be able to open their own businesses, not unlike hairdressers do.
That's right.
And so you would have more places where you could go, you know, if you want to feel a little warm.
Phil, your audience is sitting here laughing like this is some cutesy story from the lady next door. We are talking about it. Ladies and gentlemen, wait a minute. I sat here and let you talk. Phil said he'd get to me. Ladies and gentlemen, think what we're laughing at here. We are talking about a career that destroys the lives of a lot of young women. For us to sit here and think this is a cute thing, think of how many young women, if this were legalized, that would take away the inhibition to go do this because they say, well, I won't get arrested, I'll try it out. This destroys thousands of young women. For us to laugh at this, it shows how terrible we are as a condition in our society.
Right here, please.
Let me tell you something.
Go ahead.
There's so many rapists, murderers, serial killers, child molesters that we don't put behind bars.
Because we're chasing down calls.
Because we're chasing down something. Granted, you might not think it's right. I'm sure a lot of other people might not morally think that these are right things to do, but there are more serious crimes where these people don't get put behind bars that belong there.
I must break. I thank you for your patience, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Hollywood Pictures presents an Oliver Stone production, an epic story of universal love between mothers and daughters.
You don't know what you have over me.
Filled with hopes, dreams, and a bond that can never be broken.
Happy.
From the best-selling novel by Amy Tan comes a celebration of life. The Joy Luck Club, directed by Wayne Wang.
Starts Friday exclusively at the Wisconsin Avenue Theater.
Kimberly Greenwell didn't believe following Weight Watchers would work, nor did Roger Dacre. And they're just two of the millions of people we've taught to lose weight at Weight Watchers, eating delicious, everyday foods.
Join Weight Watchers now for only $10. You'll save 66%. Call Weight Watchers today.
She's a singing star. She's a grandma. And now, she's a mom all over again.
Keep doing it till you get it right, girl.
And this grandma's just had twins, too.
When I went to the doctor, the nurses would yell, "Hey, the 49-year-old pregnant lady is here."
Late motherhood's put new life in these couples.
Totally rejuvenated my wife.
In what way?
You said it's a fish, Sally.
Grandma's having babies on the next Sally.
What I do?
You wanted to say.
Yes, Phil. I'm in support with Jack. Ma'am, how can you condone marijuana? The law is marijuana is illegal.
It's a bad law.
There's problems, ma'am. So many kids reasons.
Because of marijuana. You can't sit down and tell your children not to have marijuana. Look, do you sit and have a drink at night? Does your daughter come and ask you, can I know?
Marijuana is illegal.
But I think part of
it's
the
illegal, but it's not wrong. The law is wrong.
All three of you are involved in something you knew is illegal. If you want to fight it, go it through legislation. Don't go out and encourage people to break the law.
Yes, ma'am, you wanted to say.
How many people have died from an overdose of marijuana, though? I've never heard that in the paper. The lady said that she was growing the marijuana for personal use. Why did you cover
100 plants are like a multinational operation, I guess, to this woman.
How do you know what you're going to get from 100 plants? Please tell me.
Yes.
Excuse me? Who said that?
Yeah.
Who ever said that?
Peter McWilliams wrote a book titled Ain't Nobody's Business If You Do. Here is a compilation of all the laws on all the books across Heartland that provoke the expenditure of limited public funds for the arrest or the chasing down and the arrest of people who really, in Mr. McWilliams' view, are not hurting anybody. Make your case, sir. You've heard some of these arguments here.
Well, but the idea behind Ain't Nobody's Business If You Do is really simple, that as adults we should be able to do with our own person and property whatever we choose, as long as we don't physically harm the person or property of another. I hope all of you applauding will go by Ain't Nobody's Business If You Do, because we need to get on the bestseller list so that people will pay attention to it. It's the first book that I know of that incorporates all the research, all the data, all the statistics. For example, do you know that there's 350,000 people in prison right now for consensual crimes? Another 1.5 million people on probation, 4 million arrests this year. All this costs us $50 billion, with a B, billion dollars. In addition, because of the underground economy, we are losing another $150 billion in tax revenue. That comes to about $1,200 per taxpayer in this country. And if we get that underground economy above ground, we would create 6 million new tax-paying jobs.
Robert Ferber, Los Angeles City prosecutor. He's going to say out loud in a public forum now something that won't necessarily endear him to the establishment. This is, so, you know, I don't know what you get. This is a brave thing to be doing, Mr. Ferber, and to express our gratitude, I will give you a black and white photograph of me suitable for Fred.
I may need a job, actually.
No kidding, you're a Los Angeles City prosecutor, so you have to go after all the bad guys and women as well. Tell us, you think there's a point to be made here?
Oh, it's a major point. I'll tell you, I became a prosecutor because I want to protect people. This sounds corny, but it isn't. It's true. I wanted to stop crime. I do want to stop crime. I want to stop people from being hurt. Most of my colleagues joined the office for the same reason. Most cops, most judges are there not to get an easy job. We're overworked, we're underpaid. We care because there are victims out there. A good portion of my time at a pretty good salary for government pay. Not protecting people, but I think hurting people. As Mr. Chambers said, I'm not here to encourage people to break the law, but I'm hurting people because of these so-called, these consensual crimes.
So you would acknowledge, you would be prepared to say then, for example, that Los Angeles County, are you with the city or the county?
I'm with the city.
All right, the municipality
we split it up in Los Angeles.
All right, the municipality of Los Angeles spends too much money, for example, chasing prostitution.
Oh, phenomenal. I was in charge of vice enforcement for 2.5 years. My job was to get rid of the prostitutes in Hollywood in the early 80s when we were the vice capital of the world. I did it. I didn't change one prostitute. What I did was I got phone calls from San Jose, Las Vegas, from Hawaii.
Just moved them around.
Saying, what the heck are you doing sending these people to my city? And you know what? What's really sad, though, this is the part that made me have to get involved with this, because I'm not supposed to be here. It's that there's cops, there's judges, there's police officers and prosecutors who do agree with this. I got this not from personal opinions from being a college kid in the 60s or 70s. It was from my experience as a prosecutor, using all the tools necessary to deal with prostitution and drugs, and realizing it's not working. And what's happening in LA, right as this show's going on, there's a lady somewhere in this city or some other city who's yelling rape, who's calling 911, and there's a cops looking for somebody on the street who may ask him for a sex act for $20 and won't respond because there's not enough cops. And that's happening in every city.
I'll get you, Jack, I promise.
That makes me mad because that's not what I joined this office for.
Right. Appreciate your informed commentary here. Pot, aren't we? We agree that we don't want to send a kid with a roach in his pocket to jail. Now, after that, it gets a little complicated. Can you grow it? Can you sell it? Can you bail it? Can
it
you
gets
package
complicated it? Because the laws have made it. I'm not really sure that, I mean, that's part of what's happened with these consensual crimes is we have a patchwork of laws that say, well, it's okay maybe to smoke a joint because we'll only give you a fine, but if you go and purchase it, now it's suddenly a serious crime.
You can't buy it, but you can smoke it. You can't sell it, but you can use it. You can't put this, you can't put that. And we're spending a lot of money on...
I read Mr. McWilliams' book before coming to the show. I got to tell you, it's one of the most documented, interesting, entertaining, funny, serious cases I've ever heard for making a point. And if I didn't already have some strong convictions about this, he would have convinced me. Let me tell you the problem with what these two gentlemen are saying. We are talking, he lists in his book things that you ought to legalize: pornography, obscenity, all gambling laws, public nudity, etc., etc. Almost anything that has to do with traditional moral values. He says these are victimless crimes. There are not victimless crimes. Our society is being destroyed because we are saying we spend too much money, we ought to have more cops doing this, so let's just legalize all this stuff. That's like getting fed up with your rebellious teenager said, I'm tired of the effort it takes to keep them in line. Let them go do whatever they want all night, and you are going to have a big mess of trouble with your teenager when you come to that point.
And we'll be back in just...
Sam here is giving me enough good reasons to use my Dirt Devil handbag, but now he's giving me 5 more. When they turn the house upside down, I turn on my Dirt Devil. Its powerful revolving brush tears into dirt, chews up crumbs, and picks up pet hair. It has an extra long cord, and it's lightweight. So, I'd say my Dirt Devil is the pick of the litter. Right, Sam? Right. Get a Dirt Devil and put the power of an upright in the palm of your hand.
For a yeast infection, I want an effective cure at a reasonable price. So I switched from Monostat 7 to Myselect 7. My doctor says its medicine is also full prescription strength, and Myselect's costs a lot less. Now my choice, my cure, is Myselect.
Are people everywhere trying to tell you something? Yes, Dentine freshens your breath and makes your mouth taste clean, not sweet. So brush your breath clean with great tasting Dentine.
New Double Power Whisk versus Tide Ultra. Whisk is concentrated, really thick. Tide is thin by comparison. They both wash the same amount of laundry, so how come there's so much more Tide? Because you need more Tide to wash as much as Whisk. See, Whisk is more powerful, it's thicker, and the fact is, new Whisk even cleans better. Introducing concentrated Double Power Whisk. It's smaller, thicker, it cleans better than Tide.
Welcome to Village Chicken, the home of fabulous old-fashioned cooking. Get a whole Village Chicken, family-sized salad for $4, and a loaf of freshly baked bread, all for just $11.25. And Village Chicken is more than just the best chicken around. It's also the best Heatos. So when you want great food at great prices, think of Village Chicken at the Amphora Center in Vienna, Fairfax, Manassas, Leesburg, and now in Springfield.
What's next on Springer?
I feel like I'm in limbo.
They're older adults whose golden years have been cut short because they're raising their kids' kids.
Kids are not like they used to be.
From grandmom to mom. Next, Jerry Springer.
Jerry's not afraid to ask.
How come everyone else is wrong and you're right?
To understand.
Have you ever been hurt? How can you know what they're feeling?
To provoke.
Here's a thought. Somebody, stand up.
Jerry Springer.
See, folks, and the next minute.
Coming to you. Hi, I'm glad you waited. You wanted to say.
Hi, yes, I think I'm from actually a southern state, and it's really insane that I have to live in fear of being arrested because I lived with my partner 4 years. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
You're a gay person?
Yeah.
Which southern state, do you mind saying?
Well, Arkansas. And do you know...
And what's the fear? What's going to happen?
Well, I mean, the police could come in and arrest me. I mean, at any time. And I've never broken the law. Why should I be in fear of that? That's insane.
You probably are breaking some law, even though it's one of the consensual...
I don't know if it's a anti-sodomy state or not. We'll check. We'll have... this audience wants to know. Well, this audience does not want to break any laws.
Arkansas, gay oral sex, gay anal sex, and pornography and assisted suicide are all illegal in Arkansas.
Yeah.
To Kentucky.
Well, it is, I'll tell you what, 1993, we've got people living in fear. This is Salem. I mean, we got everything but the...
That's right. And they pay me a lot of money.
You say these crimes don't hurt anybody. You two could be spreading AIDS. You were swerving. You could have hit somebody and killed somebody.
Well, I'm glad you brought AIDS up because, in fact, when I worked with the Center for Disease Control, we did studies on AIDS and prostitution, and one of the things that we found was that prostitutes are no more likely to have AIDS than anyone else. If you start looking at IV drug users where AIDS are being spread through IV drug use, there is an increased amount of AIDS in that population.
It's regulated,
but that's not the case. Survey after survey has been done on prostitutes and AIDS, and also in the state of Nevada, there's never been a single case of AIDS involving a prostitute.
Over here, please.
And keep in mind that the needles are, the reason that it's spread by needles, the sole reason is because that you cannot buy a hypodermic needle
you have to share
without a prescription, so people have to share needles. If drugs were legal, not only would they be cheap, but they would come in hypodermic needles, disposable, use it once, throw it away. If that's what people are going to do. Right now, it costs $200 to $300 for a heroin addiction. That means people have to steal $2,000 to $3,000 a day from us to support that habit.
Yes,
ma'am.
I'd just like to say I'm in support of Jack. We're talking about crimes, little crimes and big crimes, and these two ladies here are husbands. You say your husbands are attorneys, but yet and still you go out and you commit these crimes. Crimes are crimes. The big rat cuts the hole and the little rat follows.
The fact that they're against the law is the very evidence that whether you believe with Mr. Chambers that this conduct should be okay, face the facts, folks. Law enforcement isn't making a dent. No matter which side, I have trouble believing why you can be against this, because the reality is they're the living proof of it. Responsible citizens in this country have said, I won't participate in this conduct no matter what. Now, are we going to still stubbornly and blunt?
I will tell you why I'm stubborn and
You'll do it briefly, I know you will.
Because why? Let me give you a brief definition. I read Mr. McWilliams' book. He quotes John Locke and a lot of other people say the purpose of government is to protect our property and our person. And he slams the religious right, and I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative, so he might put me in that category. The reason why a lot of us are trying to maintain these laws is the purpose of law is not only to punish people, it is to serve as a wall of inhibition where a lot of people might think, I think I'll go try this, but they hear it's against the law. Even if they never get arrested, they say, I'm not going to try this.
You thought prohibition was a good idea, didn't you?
Yes, prohibition was a good idea.
All right. In my office just said that she didn't make the decision to use drugs or not drugs because of the law. People in my office, anybody in this audience who ever used drugs, did you do it because it was against the law or not against the law? Did you choose to stop because of the law? There's nobody that says that it responded.
This young man wanted to say.
Yeah, I can't agree with you, Jack, because unfortunately you remind me of Pat Robinson and Jerry Falwell.
Are you there, caller? I'm glad you waited. Go ahead.
Yes, hi, I'm calling from Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah, what is it?
And I want my tax money spent apprehending prostitutes. Prostitution contributes to the spread of AIDS, no matter what statistics that woman wants to say. And if making an arrest and a judgment call is going to save somebody from AIDS, then I'm all for it. Spend my tax money on it.
I'm glad to hear that you're in favor of doing whatever will help with AIDS, because I think that the condom, yes, using condoms, and also Peter's point about how drugs are being handled is very important. That if we could have distribution of needles, or if people could buy needles as opposed to the prohibition.
Come on, now setting up a government agency to regulate prostitutes, to regulate needles, and as he says in his book, to tax these things. He's saying we're losing potential tax money. Ladies and gentlemen, is that moral for a society to get its government revenue by encouraging people to engage in immoral behavior? I say no, and I think a lot of people say
Free society.
What you say is immoral is based upon your religious point of view. Now, I think it's immoral to take someone like Jesus, who in my reading of the Bible was for forgiveness, charity, loving, and healing, and turn him into someone to justify personal prejudice and hatred. I find that immoral, and I think that you...
I don't think you're listening, Jack. I really don't.
Because
yes, I know what you're going to say.
No, you don't.
Tough love works.
No, you don't, Phil. Jesus,
your
that tolerant, loving man, took the law. Jesus, that tolerant, loving, forgiving man, the Son of God, went into a temple when some people were out of line and whipped him. God is a God of justice and judgment as much as love and mercy. There's a condition on mercy. It's asking God to forgive us. It's not boasting about what we're doing wrong and asking for license to do it more.
Don't miss the point. In our free society, Tom Brian,
the point is that
over 350,000 people are now in jail for consensual crimes. You should also know that another 1.5 million are on parole or probation. Over 4 million more will be arrested this year. We will spend $50 billion this year punishing them. That is to say, people who have been convicted of consensual crimes. And we will lose $150 billion this year in tax revenue. It's your money. The woman on the phone wants to chase down every hooker that ever walked the streets.
See, we live in a country
How many cops are you going to need to do this? How many people are going to have to dress up like hookers and hit on the Johns? How many more jails are you going to build? The hookers get arrested, they put them in the big wagon, they go down to the jail, to the courtroom. The next morning they come in, the judge went in, and there's a stamp and some people shuffle some papers, and they're back out on the street. And you're paying for it. And we'll be back in just a moment.
Every day, homes are sold at auction because of mortgage foreclosure. And almost everyone could have been saved by American Mortgage Assistance. American Mortgage Assistance finds solutions to your mortgage problems. Call now, 931-9393. If you're 90 days or more behind on your payments, American Mortgage Assistance can help. Don't lose your home. Call now, 931-9393. American Mortgage Assistance.
This is my school, and this is my teacher, Miss Jenkins. She says our school is very lucky, because through Giant's Apples for the Students Plus program, we collect more and more receipt tapes every year. which means we get more and more computers. Sometimes we get microscopes, books and textbooks, VCRs, even balls for gym class. Because we need all that stuff, too. This year, who knows what we'll get from Giant? Maybe the moon and the stars.
Hello, I'm BJ Sklar, and I'd like to tell you about an exciting new concept in kitchen remodeling that can transform your old kitchen into a beautiful new kitchen while saving you thousands of dollars off the cost of kitchen cabinets. It's called refacing. It's the fast, economical alternative to kitchen remodeling, and no one does it better than Sears. This free videotape will show you how easy and inexpensive refacing your kitchen can be. It will explain how you can give your kitchen a whole new look while preserving the craftsmanship and quality of your original cabinet frames. It will also show you Sears' unique refacing techniques, the many extra features available from Sears, and the huge array of styles that you can choose from. Best of all, the videotape is free. Call now and see for yourself how you can save on a beautiful new kitchen with Sears Kitchen Cabinet Reface. Sears, your money's worth and a whole lot more.
For a transcript of Donahue, send $3 to Journal Graphics, 1535 Grant Street, Denver, Colorado, 80203. Or call 303-831-9000. To order a video cassette for only $24.95, just call 1-800-FOR-VIDEO.
Hi, I'm glad you waited, caller. You wanted to say.
Yeah, hi, Phil. How are you doing?
You know, it's another day at the office.
Okay, I'm a college student, and I've seen more people make complete fools out of themselves and do completely stupid things when drinking than when smoking marijuana.
Yes, it's true. Drinking kills other people. Smoking will kill you. Drinking can kill you.
Yeah, smoking kills over 400,000 people a year. Drinking kills over 150,000 people a year. All illegal drugs put together kill less than 6,000
The
people a
alcohol,
year.
tobacco, and pharmaceutical companies do not want marijuana legalized. It's competition.
Phil, I think when we pull these things separately apart as far as drugs and prostitution, we neglect a very important fact. Society has to make a balancing test. I'm a public defender. I represent people on drug felonies. A lot of the people that I represent are women also with prostitution charges. They go to one end of the block, perform their sex act for $20, go down to the other end of the corner and buy crack cocaine. They neglect their children. One of the attorneys in my office currently represents a woman who left the children alone so she could go into New York City to make money because of a crack addiction.
And then therefore that says to you what?
Well, it says that when we separate these crimes, it may appear that they are victimless and consensual crimes are victimless.
Right.
However, when we combine them, the drugs, when we pay for AIDS, the prostitutes I see in my office are poor, indigent women. We used to see 3 or 5 a year. Now we see 5 a day. The court files are marked with a red flag. They have active AIDS.
But you know,
the only time anyone is concerned is if during an arrest, a prostitute bites a police officer.
I never thought I'd be fighting with a public defender taking this position, but there is such a thing as victim crimes. And in fact, most of the conduct that we engage in every day is potentially makes us or our family a victim. Anything from putting on the wrong coat, from sticking you with a pin. But the thing is, why are those people engaged in that? Because you know why? Because the law has made it a black market. It's a commodity that they can only sell on the street. Drugs, gang, I was an anti-gang prosecutor for 7 years. You know what fueled gangs in this country? It was drugs. It was when crack cocaine came in. Gangs have been around all along. Prostitutes on the street are there because it's illegal. If it was legalized, if it was controlled, you'd give it back to us so that we could control it. Defending these people.
Think of the message it sends to our society when all of a sudden we say all of these behaviors that are morally destructive, not only from a Judeo-Christian ethic, but a shared values of most societies throughout the history of mankind, that we're now going to say these are legal because they're too expensive. It's a wrong message, especially to
our young people, is take care of your body. Your body is precious. You are responsible for what you do with your body.
And Jack, I just have to ask you, if putting morality aside, what about priority? Where are you going to get the money to keep chasing these poor people around when we have people laying in the street out here in front of 30 Rock? We have an AIDS epidemic, an environment that isn't safe to raise our children in. Why don't you reprioritize and then worry about, your morality?
I'll give you a chance to answer that question in just a moment.
A surprising thing happens to egg noodles when you take out the yolks and you add extra egg whites. They get lighter, fluffier, and there are no yolks. We don't have what you don't want.
Country crock churn style. The taste reminds me of Mom's butter on the farm. I loved growing up with that sweet butter taste.
Introducing new churn-style sticks. Sweet, buttery taste with fewer calories.
There are thousands of accident victims out there who aren't getting the settlements they deserve because they don't have a lawyer. We've got to let those people know how much we can help them.
Right. We've got to explain there are no fees that we collect.
And how important it is not to sign anything without legal advice.
And how they must act quickly or lose their rights.
Exactly. We've got to let people know how much we can help them.
Paul Klein and Associates can help you. Call Paul Klein at 1-800-4LAW-LINE.
Turned to my husband and I said, Carl, did you know I was fat? He said, babe, you just pleasingly plump. I went to Jenny Craig because of the food. Jenny's Cuisine taught me what a healthy portion was. It's not just prepackaged food. You eat lots of fresh produce. And before you know it, you're no longer eating Jenny's food. You've learned how to cook for yourself. Now my husband says he can pick me up again and I don't break his back now.
Instead of just another diet, get personal weight management at Jenny Craig, all for just $1 a pound. Call 1-800-92-JENNY.
TV's funniest odd couple, Tony Randall and Jack Klugman, are back together.
And they're going to talk about the near tragedy that inspired their reunion.
Plus, celebrity makeovers. Jose Ibert and a team of Hollywood stylists show you how to look like your favorite stars of 90210, Melrose Place, and L.A.
And the furry four-legged stars of the Tony-winning Will Rogers Follies will be here to show off their acting talents.
Hope you can join us on the next John and Lisa.
To be part of the audience, please send a postcard to Donahue Tickets, care of NBC, 30 Rockefeller Plaza, New York, New York, 10112. Remember, postcards only, please.
Jack Chambers, you're a talk show host, are you? And you're on
on radio? I have a radio show on KIXL Christian Radio in Austin, as well as on a public access TV station in Rod City.
You say nice things about me, I hope, on that station.
I wanted to answer her question, Phil. She said, where are our priorities? Here's the problem. We have now gone from the idea of that the government is based upon a limited entity that only steps in to punish wrongdoers to saying it's going to be the government that provides everything. The Bible says in Romans 13, the purpose of government is to punish evildoers. It's only supposed to be there.
Separation, please. So much wisdom out here. This is the smartest audience we've ever had on our...
I'd like to know whether Dolores' husband condones her job. Is she divorced, or...
No, and he's very supportive of my job, and he's an attorney to you as well.
I have a comment
Go
for
ahead.
Jack. I think you're living in a dream world. Whatever you sit there preaching, all this stuff is still going to happen. And moral rights, moral values should be taught in the home. And yes, regardless of
That's
prostitution...
exactly where we should keep society. Those values are exactly what we taught to our children.
Let's let some other people speak for a second.
The law is a separate issue from morality. If you legalize prostitution, tax it, we'll be able to find a cure for AIDS. And just because it's legal doesn't mean everyone's going to do it. Morality will kick in, and that will be the law.
Yes, ma'am. You wanted to say.
I'm just wondering how has he managed to remain in the closet with his parents?
Well, he's not now.
Thanks to the news media, I'm definitely out of the closet.
If you joined us late, they tried to get him on a sodomy violation in Kentucky, took it all the way to the Supreme Court, wins it 4-3. Kentucky Supreme Court. Hi.
Hi. Jack, everyone has different morals and values, and you mean to tell me you've never broken a law?
Yeah, I and everybody in here probably has. Yeah, we're talking about the ideal and what the standard of society should be. No one in here lives up to
The Bible also says the gluttony should be punished by death. Well, there goes Jerry Falwell and Rush Limbaugh.
I think that our government still has to maintain high standards. They're a government, and we have to maintain them.
No, actually, the government doesn't do that. We do that individually.
Peter, may I please?
The laws should be enforced. They are laws. If you don't like the way they are, then go through the legislature process.
That's what you do.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Read this book because...
What's that? Oh, my foot. Oh, it's back again. What the heck? Get out of here. Oh, I'm thirsty. Oh, fruit drink's good, but it needs something like apple juice. I just climbed up. Nice catch. Stairs back there. Leave me alone. I'm making an apple quencher.
New apple quenchers from Very Fine. Great tasting fruit, thirst quenching apples. Nothing quenches like apple quench.
At Safeway, we've learned that our schools need more than just computers, like audiovisual equipment,
Slide projectors, and equipment like horns and flutes and trumpets. You can get a whole orchestra.
All kinds of sports stuff. Basketball, football, that. So more kids can play.
So save your Safeway register tapes now, because nobody offers our schools a wider selection than Safeway.
No place to be somebody.
They met on the banks of the Potomac.
I think if you'd have been a big man in the rackets.
The rich, the great, and the small.
Philip Michael Thomas and Antonio Fargas star in Charles Gordon's Pulitzer Prize-winning No Place to Be Somebody.
You American Afro. Go over that Mickey phone and call for all black folk to unite. Right.
The Warner Theater, September 28th through October 3rd. Tickets at the Warner box office and Ticketmaster, or charge at 432-SEATS.
Kimberly Greenwell didn't believe following Weight Watchers would work, nor did Roger Dacre. And they're just two of the millions of people we've taught to lose weight at Weight Watchers. Eating delicious, everyday foods.
Join Weight Watchers now for only $10.
you'll save 66%. Call Weight Watchers today.
What's next on Springer?
I feel like I'm in limbo.
They're older adults whose golden years have been cut short because they're raising their kids' kids.
Kids are not like they used to be.
From grandmom to mom. Next Jerry Springer.
Jerry's not afraid to ask.
How come everyone else is wrong and you're right?
To understand.
Have you ever been hurt? How can you know what they're feeling?
To provoke.
Here's a thought. Somebody, stand up!
Jerry Springer, trapped by a fallen tree. The love of his family compelled him to amputate his own leg. His extraordinary story. Next on
Business If You Do. Here's a review of some of the laws. Consensual crimes. That is to say, crimes involving people who... What did I do wrong? That don't hurt anybody, and why are we spending all this money?
I want to ask the woman whose husband's in jail with the marijuana, if he knew that he was going to be arrested for 100 plants, why did he do it?
He didn't know that there was a federal law in the state. If he was arrested, this is a misdemeanor. It is not a felony.
The marijuana is legal in
you.
Amsterdam, and they have one of the highest incidents.
Services provided and promotional fees paid by
the Mexico Ministry of Tourism. To make your dreams come true, call today, 1-800-44-MEXICO for a free